Good evening and welcome to Cruising Campers. This is August 25th, I believe it is, 2025. Just wanted to put out a quick short. We're again here in just north of Macon, Georgia, and that at a KOA campground. The thing I left off my last video when I reviewed this campground is a couple attractions that are fairly close, maybe 8-10 miles away, that are off of 75 away, so not too many people kind of go to them and research. But I'll tell you what, at least the one is definitely worth going to. So first of all, there's a little town of Juliette, and if you're the older generation like myself and that, you may remember the movie Fried Green Tomatoes. Juliette is where that was filmed, with the town, the diner, the dam, just the old buildings and that. You can still go there. The diner is there. It's called the Whistle Stop Cafe, and what you want to do is you don't want to arrive any earlier than 11 a.m. but you don't want to arrive much later than that either, because it gets packed. There is no place to park. You have to park basically next to the railroad in the grass and that. There's no parking. The town is non-existent basically as far as people goes before 11, and after the restaurant closes, the town abandons. There's literally nobody lives in the town. There's only a couple of little gift shops right across from the Whistle Stop Cafe. But if you go in the Whistle Stop Cafe, this is old school cafe. You walk up on the front porch and seating's outside for the waiting area. You have to sign in your own name. There is no hostess. Eventually somebody, one of the waitresses, will come out and check whose name's on the next, call you, and come in and show you to your table. The inside basically has a big horseshoe bar type setup with booze and a few tables around to the outskirts of that. I don't think it's been changed since it was probably originally the railroad station. One of the reasons I say that, I don't know that for a fact, but the original shoe shine booth is still there, where you sit up in the chairs and they shine your shoes and that. And there's all kinds of memorabilia from the movie with Kathy Bates and that there on the walls as well. So that's worth stopping out. The food's okay, nothing great, but a lot of different choices you won't see anyplace else. Obviously, fried green tomatoes, salads, sandwiches, you name it, are all there. But they're also serving rutabagas, and there's some other collard greens that you just don't see everywhere that's there. So decent place just to go for a quick lunch. And then after that, as you're going, like if you're going to go back to 75 on the main intersection right there in that little town of Juliette, if you turn right, you'll go out about another 5 or 6 miles. You'll go across the railroad tracks. As soon as you go over the railroad tracks, which is just a quarter of a mile, there's a little park to the right. You may or may not want to go down there. Again, it's just more memorabilia from the movie. But if you go down that little park, just a little dirt circular road, you can see the dam and some of the old buildings that were shown in the movies there as well. If you want to stop and do the picnic there, that's fine too, or fishing. But if you come out of that park and hang a right, like you're going away from Juliette, out about 5 or 6 miles is the Jerrell Plantation state historical site. It's owned by the state of Georgia. It was a working plantation from the early 1800s, I believe, until 1960s. They owned up to 900 acres at the last bit. They had a number of slaves and that. Most of the original buildings are still there. Several of them were destroyed by the Union Army that came through and kind of ravaged the plantation. But they were saved the original household, some of the barns and that. The plantation was not just a cotton plantation. It was cotton. They also raised sugar cane there. It was also a lumber mill. And most of all that equipment with the steam saws and processing, the thrashers and all that, are still there. And some of the barns where they hung the sugar cane, or after it's processed to be aged, I guess, or whatnot. But the newest house that they finally built there, which is a nice big new house, you can't get to. You walk by it, but it's fenced off because the 4th generations of Jerrells still live there. state of Georgia, and it's about 250 acres. It is not mobility friendly. These are walking trails on dirt, some gravel, you know, over roots sticking up and down hills, some steps. So it is not wheelchair friendly. Cane or walker would be even slightly difficult, but that is worthwhile. And that's probably only maybe a 2-hour visit. One thing, when you do go in the visitor center, there is a charge, and there is a senior citizens discount. I think we were $5.50 a piece to get in there, so it's not much of a charge at all. They do have an absolutely, I think it's probably the best documentary film I've seen at a historical site. It's only about 12 minutes long, but definitely see that video when you first go in the thing, because it helps explain the whole park. So that's definitely worthwhile if you're in this area. That's fairly close to 75. Just a couple sites we found out that aren't really well known or in memory. So I think that's it. If you find this interesting and helpful, please like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you much.